Hello there and welcome to this video. In today's topic, what we're going to be studying is the organization of life and cell size. So why cells are small and basically what you're made of. So I'll go ahead and see you on the next slide. Let's get to it. The organization of life. Now, organisms, as we know, can be single-celled or multicellular. So single-celled being one cell, multicell, many. Multicellular organisms are organized into more complex structures. Multicellular organisms also have specialized cells that do a specific function. So for example, if you think about it, your red blood cells have the specific job of carrying oxygen. Muscle cells help provide movement. White blood cells go ahead and fight off infection. Nerve cells are used up in your brain to go ahead and carry thoughts and synapses. It's great. So as you can see, each cell has a specific job, depending on the type. Let's discuss the organization of life from smallest to largest. So at the smallest component, we have molecules. These molecules go ahead and combine to create cells. These cells go ahead and combine to create tissues. These tissues will go ahead and combine to create organs. These organs combine to create organ systems. These organ systems will combine to create organisms. And all the organisms found in an area is considered an ecosystem. So to go over this one more time, let's do an example. So we have molecules, which combine to create cells. Now when the cells go ahead and combine for their specific purpose, they can create tissue, for example, muscle tissue. This muscle tissue can go ahead and be combined to create things like organs. So for example, considering your heart is an organ, your heart is actually made up of cardiac muscle tissue. So, speaking of your heart is found in the cardiovascular system. Responsible for going ahead and pumping blood throughout your body and making sure that blood is oxygenated. Now if you combine all the organ systems inside of a human body, you get a human. So you get an organism. And if you go ahead and combine all the organisms, so humans and other creatures found in an area, that is going to make up your ecosystem. So it's all one big kind of reverse funnel. It goes ahead and gets larger as you increase over time. So let's talk about cells specifically. Prokaryotic cells are cells that do not contain a nucleus or any membrane-bound organelles. Now they're always single-celled organisms, so these are going to be things like bacteria. And they have a very simple structure. Normally they're a cell wall and cell membrane surrounding a cytoplasm with the, I believe it was the nucleoid where all the DNA is at. So they're going to be lacking the specific structures inside eukaryotic cells, specifically the nucleus. And these divide by binary fission, which means they just go ahead, double all the information inside themselves, and then split. Eukaryotic cells, on the other hand, are a bit more complex and larger. Eukaryotic cells contain a nucleus and many membrane-bound organelles, for example, your mitochondria, ribosomes, your endoplasmic reticulum, just to name a few. So an organelle is a structure that performs a specific job inside the cell. So think like a cell organ. For example, we all know that the mitochondria is responsible for going ahead and creating energy. Now these can be single-celled or multicellular organisms. There are some single-celled eukaryotic individuals such as Protista. So an algae would be single-celled, whereas plants can be multicellular. And these all go ahead and divide by mitosis. It is a similar process to binary fission, but mitosis is the division of the nucleus as well. And considering the prokaryotic cells do not have a nucleus, well, they can't go through mitosis. So here's an example of some algae. Each one is only one single cell, so those are our single-celled eukaryotics. And this is a group of plant cells that go ahead and make up a plant. So plants, multicellular. Now the biggest question here is, why are cells so small? So as a cell increases in size, its volume is going to increase faster than its surface area, meaning the stuff inside the cell is going to increase at a much faster rate than the area around it. Now, in order for a cell to function properly, it needs to go ahead and fill its volume with nutrients and empty its volume of waste. So think of it like this. It needs to go ahead and get energy the entire way through the cell and get waste the entire way through the cell to remove it. So the problem is, if cells were gigantic, it wouldn't be able to go ahead and take in enough energy to disperse it throughout the entire cell fast enough, nor would it be able to go ahead and get rid of waste fast enough. So instead of us being created of just massive cells, what we do is we're composed of many tiny cells. So think of it like going ahead and filling up a sponge. It would take much longer to go ahead and fill up a gigantic sponge than it would be just a small one. So what we do is we go ahead and we use these tiny cells to fill up with energy and then excrete with waste and pass that on to the next cell. So this will actually move at a much faster pace than it would be if just one massive cell had to go ahead and absorb all the nutrients and then expel all the waste. It wouldn't be nearly efficient enough or quick enough to go ahead and keep us alive. So that is one of the reasons why cells need to be so tiny. Now with that is going to go ahead and close up our video today on the organization of life and why cells need to go ahead and be so tiny. So if you have any questions, please go ahead, feel free to contact your instructor. They will point you in the right direction. And until next time, you all go ahead and take care.